A great weather, a black car, and a lot of mud to splash around on the roads. Little did I know that I'll be spending the week with a car that had me on my toes when I tested it for the first time.
So the Mahindra XUV400, an electric car that a lot of us enthusiasts have been vouching for. Mahindra has got one of the best engineers in India. It's not Tata, it's Mahindra. And to be precise, the success behind Mahindra's greater expanse over different countries is also because Mahindra gives a free hand to its engineers to design and execute their cars in a very good way. And the XUV400 is no different to that outlook towards building cars. Now, the previous generation felt a little rough. It was basically a pickup and drop service done to the XUV300. The only difference between the two cars was the extended boot, perhaps 200 extra length, and a few copper bits here and there just to make it look a little different. Not anymore. Mahindra has revised the interior in terms of its color scheme, in terms of the quality, in terms of fit and finish, quite a lot. And it is helping out create a very well executed, well engineered feeling when you're behind the wheel. And I'm comparing this to the direct competition of the Mahindra XUV400, which is the Tata Nexon. And I have driven the Tata Nexon briefly. And that car is beautifully designed, no doubt about it. Tata has done a great job in designing it, and they market the design factor of that car quite loudly. But that's where the story ends. The execution of the design, of fit and finish, of everything, it's not put together very well. So that is where the XUV400 trumps. And there is more to this execution.
But before we talk about the execution part of the XUV400, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the overall range that was quite a problematic situation in the previous generation.
Now, a lot of you have been questioning, saying that Ishan, the Mahindra XUV400 does not give the exact same driving range as what Mahindra is claiming it to have. Yes and no. See, when you're driving an electric car, you have to program your mind and limbs in a very different way. You brake and accelerate more gently. You lift off before you stop to get the maximum out of that regenerative braking. And the XUV400, if driven that way, gives you good enough range. Now, this one is the EL Pro with the standard range, which gets 375 kilometers of total driving range as per MIDC. You also get a longer driving range version, which gives you surplus of 450 kilometers. And if you're a person who loves to drive long distances with your family, that's the one to go for. But for people who are city dwellers like I am, and 95% of the time I'm driving within the urban jungle, stuck in the massive Delhi NCR traffic, this makes perfect sense. But fundamentally, Mahindra did not design the XUV400 for long range or giving you that long distance ability. It was designed to drive like absolute hooligans. Now, when this car was launched back in 2022, we went to their test facility in Chennai, and we did a lot of these performance-oriented testing. We did autocross, we did drag races, we drove it around that oval circuit at about 140 kilometers an hour, doing 60-degree banking angle. That is what this car is all about. It's all about great handling characteristic, beautiful driving dynamics, and wonderful ride quality. And Mahindra has engineered and executed that in heaps and bounds. And they have done a perfect job at making this car enthusiast friendly, which the Nexon EV isn't. The handling characteristic of the XUV400 hasn't changed one bit. The way it takes corners is just fantastic. And even in fun mode, which is supposed to be a more economical mode, it just pulls so nicely. Now, when I had the XUV400 last time, which was not too far away, I had the test car with a dummy ESP button, and I knew Mahindra was calibrating its ESP and traction control modules very well. They had not installed it as a standard equipment in the previous generation of the XUV400. This one gets it, and it makes the car really very grippy. Now, it has been raining cats and dogs here in Delhi since yesterday, but that just cannot phase away the way this car just sticks to the tarmac and drives so beautifully. Oh God, I am in love with the way the XUV400 handles. It's just precise and it feels so sharp. It's so reassuring. The suspension doesn't have a lot of roll and pitch, which makes your overall drive experience even better. This perhaps is the best handling EV this side of 50 lakh rupees. It's not the MG ZS EV which I had a couple of days ago. It just rolls around everywhere. This one drives extremely well. Here on the inside of the XUV400, things have changed marginally, but they have made a huge difference. To start off with, the entire interior theme has now turned from black to beige and black, which does lift up the overall cabin in terms of the visual appeal. It used to look a little dark and dingy, although it had a sunroof before as well. It just makes the space look a little more expansive. Now, the major change happens over here. This gets the 10.25-inch touchscreen and a 10.25-inch instruments cluster, which is exactly the same that you get in the XUV700 as well, with similar graphics. Dual zone climate control system, which is an absolute boon, especially when you're traveling with your wife or your girlfriend who does not like being too cold on your office trips or if you're going on a long trip. These seats are also one of the most comfortable seats in the industry right now. The way they have been bolstered, it's just super comfortable. A massive glove box over here which can accommodate a big size laptop. It also has illumination over here and a place where you can keep your mobile phones. Day and night rear view mirror which has been electronically actuated. A good enough size sunroof over here, and it gets this new steering wheel from the Mahindra lineup with the new Twin Peaks logo. The same gear lever which was there in the previous generation XUV400 as well, and you get a wireless charging pad with a cooling system, because when you are charging your phone wirelessly it does heat up quite a bit. So they have installed a vent which does connect the cooling system to this area and it keeps your phone cool while it's charging wirelessly. That's a pretty healthy move. A good enough size under armrest space and good enough sized cup holders to keep your coffee cups. Overall, the experience of sitting over here and driving this car is very premium, and it does make you feel that you've spent your money right. But the greatest business end is at the back, so let's go there. Now, the reason why I'm calling this the business end of the XUV400 is because how much you have in terms of the space packaging over here at the back seat. I'm 5 feet 8 inches tall, and this driver seat has been adjusted as per my driving style, and I have good enough knee room. And there is oodles of headroom over here, so much so that you can accommodate a 6 feet 5 inch tall adult with absolute ease. The seat base is good enough, but it lacks a little bit of a under thigh support, which I would have enjoyed if it had a bit of an extension over here. But the seat recline angle is very well engineered. It is at a precise angle, which makes sitting in the back seat over long distance trips an absolute breeze. Massive air vents over here for both the passengers and a Type-C USB port to charge your devices. Also, you have a slot to keep your phone over there. I would have actually appreciated if there was a soft touch material on the inside to keep your phone and avoid it from scratching. You also have these rubber strings to keep your magazines or other knickknacks. And overall, the sense of space on the inside of the XUV400, especially in this backseat, is pretty amazing because of this beige and black interior scheme. Absolutely fantastic experience.
But what makes the XUV400 different than the Nexon EV is something more fundamental.
What the Nexon EV also lacks is the sheer size. This is 200 mm longer. It is about 60 mm wider and taller as well. And also because it does not have that swooping roofline that the Nexon EV has, this can accommodate adults who are up to 6 foot 6 inches tall at the back. And also, the wheelbase is about 120 mm longer, which does give away some space in the interiors, which again the Nexon EV doesn't have. And just look at it. The way these muscle lines just merge into this body line over here, it looks very timeless. It's a very muscular car which is designed and executed well. And this will age very gracefully, and I just love that fact about it.
So the XUV400 is in a win-win situation when it comes to the overall dimensions, the way it handles, the way it rides, and the space management on the inside. Let's talk about the basic specifications and head on to the conclusion of this video.
The XUV400 gets the same 150 bhp and 310 Newton meters of torque out of the motor that has been installed in this car, which is both 8 bhp more than the Nexon EV and 100 Newton meters of torque extra than the Nexon EV, which makes a huge difference when you're pulling this car from a standstill. This does a 0 to 100 time of noted 8.3 seconds. But straight lines are for babies. What the XUV400 does best is corners. And for a front wheel driven crossover that runs on electricity, this is rather entertaining. It just is something that puts a huge smile on my face when I'm driving it hard. So much confidence, so well engineered. Mahindra, you've done an excellent job, and there is nothing more I can say.
Leaving the engineers to do their creativity around this car has led to an excellent product. The fit and finish and everything in the XUV400 has proven to be far better than its competitors.
So in conclusion, the Mahindra XUV400 in this newer avatar and revised interiors does make for a compelling choice if you're a driving enthusiast. The steering calibration, the suspension setup, and that traction system which has been updated in this 2024 model makes it a very entertaining car to drive. This is the best handling electric car south of 50 lakh rupees. And if you are a driving enthusiast, there is nothing better than this that you can get. 150 bhp and 310 Newton meters of torque at around 20 lakh rupees? Are you kidding me? That's the best specification that I can ask for, and this thing is such a hoot to drive.